Well, we're going to get started so we do not take too much of your time today. We are going to have a discussion with regards to, finding money partners and credit partners for your deals. I will kind of go through just some slides just so that way I can make sure to mention everything in my notes to all of you. And at any point, because this is a smaller group, at any point you have questions, you can just feel free to take yourself off mute and chime in. And that is just because I'm not going to be in Zoom during the discussion because of the way Zoom is set up. I'm going to primarily be looking at Canva. So just, take yourself off mute if you have a question. Um, so Today's conversation, I'm going to do kind of the 7 steps to finding money and credit partners for your deals. And today's, conversation is really great for new people, newbies, but I will also have some tips and tricks in here for people who are experienced, but maybe for whatever reason, you don't have any money anymore, or, your credit is a little challenged and you're looking to bring your experience to the deals. So we're going to talk about this topic from a couple of points of view. My name is Cheree. In Grid, they call me the Money Lady. And I do hard money lending, private lending for the group, long-term rental, short-term rental lending. I'm also licensed in 8 states, so I even do primary homes. I love the working with investors, though. Everything from people buying their first properties all the way to people buying their millionth property. I work with people doing fix and flips, as well as rentals, as well as also working with private lenders who tell me what they're looking for, the criteria that they're looking for. And my background is actually helping companies raise capital. So one of the good things that I am good at is helping people position themselves for the people with money or with whatever you need to say yes to you and your deal. And then on the bottom right-hand side, you could see my big Y, which are the 2 German Shepherds, Jax and Dallas, and they're downstairs right now. So if you hear them barking, you know what they look like, but they're the kings of the house. So let's start with step one. Step one is if you're a newbie, really getting kind of the frame of mind with regards to this topic and understanding that experience is worth more than profits. So you oftentimes when we hear a lot of quote unquote gurus in the real estate space, they're like, oh, you could, do a fix and flip and make $30,000, $50,000, $100,000. Yet, when you're talking about getting together with a money and credit partner, and ultimately a partner with experience as well, one of the big things you want to think about is, what is my career going to look like as a real estate investor? And again, I am bringing this topic to you as somebody who is a lender, somebody who talks to you and then determines if I'm going to loan you money. And as a lender, especially the more experience that you get within this industry, for the most part, if you've done 3 or more fix and flips within a 36-month period, like the last 36 months, you're going to receive more favorable terms. So the first couple of deals you're thinking about is, number one, how can I set it up so I don't lose money? And if you talk to any real estate investors, a lot of them lose money on their first couple of deals, or they'll lose money on their first deal. They will like make no money, but will be break even on their second deal. And then their third deal is actually when they make money. So we kind of want to fast track you within Grid through that, and having you think like, okay, I want to do 5 fix and flips a year. How do I get to that point? So understanding that the frame of mind is your experience, and getting those couple of rounds of experience in is going to be best for all of you. Uh, and again, the goal should be you want to be a successful fix and flipper. Um, and then at some point, you may you may buy, fix it up, and then renovate it as well. Within grid, if you listen to a lot of experienced investors, they will sometimes say, or oftentimes say, I wish I hadn't sold. I wish I hadn't sold the properties that I was able to purchase. I had not wholesaled them. So, you may get to a point where you want to start burring properties as well. And that's totally possible. Step two is the big thing, which is networking with the purpose. Um, Most of you probably have found out about this meeting through Grid. Grid is, for anybody who is unaware, is a real estate investment association. We have chapter meetings across the country. There are more and more chapters that are being started every month. And if you're looking for a local chapter meeting, you can go to gridinvestor.com. But there are, in my opinion, based on the people that I am interacting with, especially my newbies, there are a couple of different things that your partners can bring to the table. The first is money, which is obvious, right? You may say, I don't have any money. I need to find partners with money. The second is credit. Sometimes my newbies have great credit, but they don't have money, but then sometimes my newbies don't have money, but not necessarily great credit. I have one client right now who has the property. He owns the property as a real estate investment property, but he doesn't have the credit. So he has brought on a credit partner so that way we're able to do the deal. The third type of partner you want to bring on is somebody with experience. And I talked about this in step one. If you are a newbie, finding a partner with not just money and credit, but with also experience is going to be the best way for you to go. If you have your rich Uncle Joe or Uncle John or, Aunt Susie, and they love you, but they can't help you through the transaction, especially as a newbie, then um, those are the times when you're most likely to lose out on money. And then you don't want to have tension with your aunts and uncles at Thanksgiving. So finding an experienced partner is going to be a really great thing for you. So when you're networking with a purpose, you want to think, what are the things I have? What are the things I need? The fourth thing that you may need is somebody with contractor relationships. And the reason I mention the contractor relationships is because when I see deals that should be profitable become unprofitable, it is because of the contractor. It is because the contractor, took your initial down payment and stopped contacting you, or they say they're going to be there on Tuesday and they don't show up until Friday, or they are supposed to put one vanity in and then they mess it up and they've got to come back and redo it and they're charging you again for it and things like that. So some of you, I've had a couple of newbies contact me, and they were the contractor, or they were very handy, even though they didn't have their general contractor license. You do want to have somebody with a license to do anything outside of like painting and floors and maybe putting in a couple of appliances. But that partner with experience usually also has contractor relationships. And that's one of the ways that you can prevent your profitable deal turning into something that's not profitable. So a lot of people believe that, a lot of newbies believe that, hey, I've got to have 30, 40 buyers ready to go before I start putting offers in on properties. I'm here to tell you that that's not true. If you have a great deal, you only need two people, two, and I'm going to give you the name of one person on the next slide that you want to have in your database, right? And you can start talking to him, start going and networking with him as well, even virtually. But you only need two prospective partners. So when we go into these grid meetings or any other real estate meetings and you're networking with a purpose, you are talking to people with the understanding of this is what I have. I have time, for example. Do you have time during the weekday to go and check on contractors? If you do, that is very valuable to an experienced partner. Even if they say, go check on the property and take some video and let me see it and just make sure everything is going the way it's supposed to go, right? Sometimes as a newbie, again, you may have great credit, but you don't have the money and experience. So you're letting the prospective partner know what you have, and then you are very clear in what you're looking for from those partners. You're also able to gauge from the other people in the grid meetings, for example, has anybody else worked with this person before? Is this person an honest and an ethical person? One of the things at Grid that the founder, Rob Chavez, really focuses on is the people who are leading the groups up at the front of of the rooms are ethical agent investors. So, at least talking with them saying, hey, I'm thinking about working with this person. I met them at a grid meeting. Do you know them? I've got time and credit, but I need somebody with money and experience and contractors as I'm putting bids in. And they'll be able to tell you, yes, I know this person, or no, I don't, or, things like that. So you only need two people in on your list to kind of get started with putting offers in. Another thing, uh, we will often, well, it used to be more popular where we would just have our business cards and we would give our business cards to people. I'm here to tell you it's more important to get people's contact information than to give it out. So when you connect with somebody and you're like, hey, this person could be a really good partner, immediately as you're speaking with them, open up your contact list on your phone and add them in and add something in there like grid money partner, or, flipping partner or something like that, so that I can tell you, I forget people's names. I'm horrible with that. But if I put something in there that kind of lets me know, like these are the code words I'm using for my prospective partners, I can easily be able to go back into my contact list on my cell phone, put that word in, those people come up or that person comes up, and I'm able to text them and say, hey, I've got a property under contract. Would you like to be my partner on this? So the other thing is you want to stay in front of your prospective partners. And one of the best things that you can do is kind of send a bi-monthly or twice a month email to your prospective partners. And you can even send one email and blind carbon copy your prospective partners if you choose to do that. What kind of things do you want to put into your emails? You want to let them know, hey, I'm working on a potential offer in Reston, Virginia, or I'm working on a potential offer in, a triplex in DC, or something like that. You want to let them know, any additional things you've learned, anything that you're seeing in the market, and then asking them, hey, what are you seeing in the market? I will tell you, even if people do not respond, they're paying attention, they're watching you, and the more that they see you're doing, the quicker they will be to respond when you have a deal. Okay. And I promised to tell you a person to put in your cell phone as one of your prospective partners. This is a guy named Mike Capello. He's part of Sell Simply. On Mondays at 4 p.m., he does a wholesale training, which is a great way for you to get more information about how to find deals and how to get them under contract. People have gone to him when they've got a prospect and said, I'm unsure about my numbers. Can you help me? He's very ethical. He's part of Grid. He runs the Grid out in Front Royal. And, he's not going to steal your deals or anything like that, because I know that some people are very concerned about that. So I'm going to keep this on and allow anybody to ask questions right now about the first couple of things that I spoke about today. Any questions? No questions? Okay. Did everybody get Mike's information? Or do you already
Yes.
have it?
Yes, got it. Thank
Yep.
you.
You got it? Okay.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Alrighty then. So step 3 is to lock in your deals if possible. I spoke, sorry, a couple of weeks ago to a newbie who said, Cheree, I had 3 deals and I didn't get the contract signed myself. I didn't get the offer signed myself. Instead, I went to my prospective partners and um, she says that they took the deals from her. They, whatever, some sort of way they were able to circumvent her, get the deal signed without her. And she was telling me about this and complaining about it. I believe if you have a good deal, get the offer signed. I was speaking to somebody else and she was telling me the numbers. I'm like, turn back now and get that offer signed before the person cools down, before they start calling other people, etc. If you have a good deal, the money is here. I know that that sounds like crazy, um, where you think, oh my goodness, I'm going to be on the hook for this offer. No, there are contingency clauses you can put in there to back out if you need to back out. However, if you have a good deal, I cannot suggest enough that you actually get the offer signed. Also, while you are getting the offer signed, take a lot of pictures of the property, internal, interior, and exterior. That way, your potential partners can know roughly what the construction costs are going to be, roughly what needs to be fixed. You want to take good pictures of like the water heater and all of that other stuff in the house, just so they would get a good idea of what's happening within the property. Um, and then within Grid, we actually have this Grid calculator. If you don't have a copy of it, you can contact me and I will make sure you get a copy of it. But I would consider practicing in advance, like finding a couple of properties on the MLS, putting the numbers in, changing the number of the purchase price to see when the property would be profitable for you. But I would suggest you actually do that as practice, working on that, just like we tell our kids to work on their addition and subtraction. It's kind of the same thing, right? Um, but I do suggest you get your deals locked in and then go to your prospective partners and say, hey, I got a great deal. I already got the offer signed, and these are the things you're going to put in the email bullet points to your prospective partners. You're going to tell them the address. And you feel comfortable telling them the address because you already got the property under contract, right? You're going to tell them why the person is selling. Okay. And what this does is this lets your prospective partner know how organized you are by giving them this information, right? You're going to tell them why the person is selling. Are they in foreclosure? If they're in foreclosure, what's the auction date? Is it an inherited property? Is it a probate issue? Like, why is the person selling? Okay. The purchase price. the construction estimate that you have. And again, within the grid calculator, there are some overall estimates of what the construction costs would be. So you're able to put that in there. The after renovation value, or the ARV, after this property is sold, well, sorry, how much do we think this property is going to sell for after the construction and renovations are done? Okay. The closing date that you have, is it going to close in 30 days, 45 days? Tell them the closing date. Link the pictures that you took to the property and add your contact information. Again, I can't tell you how many people, will send an email and they won't have their name at the bottom and their phone number at the bottom, right? So the person has to email you back and hope it doesn't get caught in spam or anything like that. So you want to have your contact information, your phone number, saying call or text me at this number. You'll probably get somebody calling you with more questions, but that's a good thing, right? And then you also want to ask the person for either a phone call or a Zoom call to discuss, and that's the time you'll be able to negotiate your profit splits, um, and also the tasks that need to be done, and splitting up those tasks as well. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next slide, but I wanted to stop it here. Questions about step 3 and 4, particularly how to present your deal or putting in offers. Okay, they say if there are no questions, that means I'm doing a good job. So you all could put a 1 in the chat if I'm doing a good job, or you could tell me, Cheree, no, you're not doing a good job. That's okay as well. But I hope that what I'm saying today is kind of clear with regards to how you are presenting this information. So, okay, perfect. Thank you, Simeon. All right, so let's talk about negotiating with your credit or money or experience partner. And I've got 3 slides of things that you want to ask and they're going to ask you. So some of the things they're going to ask you and you're going to ask them: is this money partner loaning me the money, or are they an equity partner? Okay. Another question: who's going to make the major decisions about the property, about the contractor that's selected, about budget changes? Another major decision that can make or break your profitability is who the listing agent is when it's time to sell, because there are certain listing agents out there that know how to price properties and how to stage properties for maximum profit. That's a major decision you're going to have, right? Number 3, will you need additional funds from a hard money lender or a private lender? If you do, I hope you'll give me a call so that way we're able to talk about that. But you may have a $500,000 property and your money person doesn't have 500,000, but they've got 100,000, and then they would want to come to me in order to get the rest. And I do those kinds of things all day with people. Okay. Next, who covers the holding costs and the unexpected expenses? If you're going to that person, they're going to be 100% the money partner, then again, negotiating that upfront. However, they may say, well, if I'm going to be responsible for the holding costs and the unexpected expenses, then I want the super majority of control on contractor selection and listing agent selection, because I know that those things are going to hold up the process. And you, as the newbie, are going to have to decide if you're comfortable with that. Okay. Another thing, who's covering the property insurance, the property taxes, sorry, insurance, utilities, any extra costs that it takes if the project runs over budget. Okay. Because some of you as newbies may say, I only have $10,000, or I only have $20,000, or I only have $30,000 to put in this, and I'm capped out. I cannot do any more. Having those conversations with your partner in advance is going to be very important. Other questions that you're going to want to answer. Who will oversee the construction on a day-to-day basis? So remember I told you that I helped people raise capital from banks and angel investors. I helped entrepreneurs with startup businesses and growing businesses. When we talk about overseeing construction on a day-to-day basis, we're talking about time and the effort that goes into making sure that this fix and flip is successful. So I am not a person to beat around the bush. I'm going to tell you straight as it is. If you go to a prospective partner and you're a newbie and you have no time and no money and no experience and no contacts, and you say, I want 50-50 profits with you for this project, you're probably going to have a harder time getting the money and experience and credit partner to agree. So one of the things you can leverage if you don't have money and you don't have credit and you don't have experience is your time, is being able to be on the construction site every day or 3 days a week. If you say, no, Cheree, I work, I've got to be in the office, that's not possible. That's okay. I'm just kind of giving you a realistic way of thinking, well, maybe you don't get 50-50 profits. Maybe you get 25% of the profits from this deal. All right. Another thing you're negotiating is who gets paid first. Who gets paid first, especially if things don't go as planned, if there are overruns for whatever reason, that's something else to decide. How long do they expect to keep their money in the deal? This is for more so for my people who have experience, but who's getting money from aunt, uncle, private lender, somebody like that. Even if you're getting money and credit from those people, okay? What's the exit plan? Which realtor will list the property? I already talked about that. What's going to be the profit split? I've already talked about that. What happens if the exit strategy is delayed? Who again gets to make those major decisions about that? And if the deal fails, who is responsible for repaying the loan? Okay. The big thing is if you're a newbie, in my opinion, it's more important to have the ability to look over the experienced person's shoulder, to be in every single meeting that they're in, to see every single contract that they're signing, to not only be in the meetings, but then to have debriefs with them when you're asking them, why did you say that? Why did you do that? Why did you make this decision? And for them to really teach you the ropes, that is going to be infinitely more valuable to you. And I'm not telling you to not take any profit, but I am saying that instead of you getting, it may be more valuable for you to take 25% of the profit with the really experienced person that can make sure you're not going to lose money on the deal, and to be able to look over their shoulders. And I was speaking with a client of mine. They did this where they had the really experienced person help them with the first reno. And then with the second reno, they had everything that they needed. And they're finishing up, I think, next month with their renovation. So I'm going to answer Delanta's question here. What are the options for two loans to secure the property, like a bridge loan to help with funding for acquisition? So what you're able to do is you're able to potentially get the fix and flip loan, which that loan would be the loan to purchase the property and to renovate the property. And what usually happens with that loan is you will have a certain amount of down payment that you would need with that loan. So let's say your down payment is $30,000. You could potentially do a second loan for that $30,000, or that money partner could bring that $30,000 down payment to the table. And then we, as the lending partner, would fund the rest. So it's not necessarily a bridge loan, it's just a fix and flip loan. Um, if you're saying that if you just want to acquire the property and you're not looking to fix it up, you can do a bridge loan for 12 months, and then you would need to refinance. So a part of that is just figuring out um, what your exit plan is going to be. And one of the big things with this process is making sure when if you're going to get a property, get a bridge loan, and then try to refinance, that the refinance amount is going to be high enough where you don't have to bring money to the table in order to refi. So I have a lot of clients like that right now. Not a lot, but some where that's the issue, where they got bridge loans and then now with refinancing, they've got to bring more money to the table. So I want to stop here though. Questions about negotiating with your partner, any of the questions that I suggest you ask and you kind of figure out where you want to be. I'll open it up. Or you could put questions in the chat. Okay, no questions. All right. Step 6, get it in writing. Get it in writing. And I do suggest this is not where you be cheap. Get your own attorney to review the document, even if you and the other partner writes up your agreement, spending the $300 for an attorney just to look it over, just to make sure your rights are protected. Sometimes that'll be the best $300 you will spend. So, and then step 7, of course, I'm the money lady. So if you need additional money, definitely coming to me in order to ask. And we're again going to be able to do that deal structuring and structure your deal financially for you. So just to recap, you want to think about experience more than profits, number 1. Number 2, start networking for the partners that you need, whether it's money, credit, experience, or construction. You need 2 to 3 people on speed dial in order to really get started. Lock in your deal, like as you're going out wholesaling, put the offers in, lock in the deal, then present your deal to the prospective partners, negotiate with the partner that you really want to have. Get your negotiated items in writing and signed. And then if you need additional funding, of course, I'm here to help you with regards to that. And you can call or text this number. I'm going to keep this online here. And you can either put questions in the chat or you are able to take yourself off mute. Kim is asking, can you explain what should be in the clause to get out if needed? That's a Mike Capello question, but you can put certain things in with regards to home inspection or with regards to, you could do a financing contingency as well, potentially. And I would do it for like, 48 hours, 2 days, 3 days, something like that. You don't necessarily want it to be a huge amount of time, but those are 2 clauses. I would also talk to Mike Capello because he may have some other ideas of clauses in there as well for you to get out. That's a good question. Other questions that people have.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So you were saying that we should have, a attorney, look at the
Mm-hmm.
contract.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a LLC with my partner, so I
Mm-hmm.
still need to have, uh, you know, attorney to take a look, or it's not
I
really
would.
necessary? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would just to make sure you haven't forgotten anything, make sure that there's no major clauses.
Mhm.
The things that I mentioned are across all the states, but in California, for
Mhm.
example, there may be something in California that I'm unaware of that you need to add within your partnership agreement.
Mhm.
So I would
Okay. Thank
just
you.
be careful.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And it really, getting it in writing and all of this is to protect you if things go wrong. If things are right, things go right, and both of you make money and oh, we're happy,
Mhm. Yeah.
but what happens if your partner makes a bad decision and all of a sudden things are tumbling down and perhaps you signed as a guarantor for that loan as well? you know so those are the kinds of things. Or okay, we're going to be able to get out of this property, but we need some additional money in order to finish the renovations and sell it off, right? um and you may say, oh, Cheree, but we negotiated that up front. Great, but just I would just have a second pair of eyes on the contract, just in case.
Thank you.
Mhm. Other people. Other questions that you may have?
I have another quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the agreement that you're talking about is more so if we were to bring on a partner in getting the deal done, not necessarily the agreement for lending. Like
Correct.
if I just need the money for um for the next flip that I'm going to go buy,
Mm-hmm.
there typically does the lender or the hard money lender or you or whoever, you have that paperwork already in place
Yes.
that's already been, I'm assuming looked over by an attorney because it's what
Mm-hmm.
you use to protect yourself and that type of thing. So
Correct.
the more so the agreement would be if I am bringing on a partner to go into the venture with me together. Like,
Correct.
okay,
Correct.
okay,
Now, I will say yes, unless your private lender is Aunt Susie, and then you may need to go to an attorney, a real estate attorney, to draft the documents for your private loan to protect Aunt Susie. And Aunt
got
Susie may end up being on the deed as like we call it a first lien
it.
on the
Hmm.
property as well. So, and the title company would make sure that that's filed.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this I'm kind of embarking into a new territory now because on my last 8 flips, I've been able to fund them myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I haven't had to go into the, getting loans to, do what I needed to get done. So
Right.
now moving wanting to scale it a little bit larger, I'm looking at houses that are a little bit more expensive and then,
Mm-hmm.
I've got to do what I want to do to figure out how much money I need to get it under contract and then what I need for the renovation. And that just might be more than I want to pull out of the account.
Right.
All right. And so contacting you or Mike, like that would be something that to
Mm-hmm.
venture on for, like, hey, I just need the reno part of this, or,
Yeah, you would
I'm going to buy
contact
it
me
type
for,
thing
yeah,
for
you
that.
would contact me for that.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yep,
perfect.
you would contact me for that. And, another great thing is lenders, even your private lenders, love it when you bring some money to the table.
Hmm.
So I do have people sometimes ask, oh, can I get 100% funding? Um, Experienced people will say no,
Hmm.
because if you have no money in the deal, then the deal's falling apart. You can just walk away. But if you've
Sure.
got 50 grand or 100 grand in that deal, then you're
Hmm.
like, oh no, I'm not just walking away from this. I'm
Right.
going to figure out how to get this, get this finished up and sold.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? Do you all think this was a good topic? Because I'm thinking of having this topic like a couple of times a year. Because I get a lot of phone calls from people who need money partners. Uh-huh. Argy?
I think
RG?
it's great. I think it's great. Thank you.
All
Good
right.
information.
Perfect. Yeah. I'll try to do it at least twice a year, this topic. Okay. All right. Well, if there are no more questions, you all were a great audience. I mean, it's saying yes, good topic, and a refresher is always good. Perfect. Yes. And then Kim is saying thank you for your info and your time. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here and for your time as well. I don't take that for granted. If you have questions about money, financing, structuring deals between myself and Mike Capello, we are here to help you. The Grid community is here to help you as well. If you're not a part of the Facebook group, I definitely would suggest you consider becoming a part of that. And I will send an email once we're done, just kind of, giving you my information again and making sure that you have my contact information and also the link to the Grid group. So.
I have a question. When would
Yes,
be a good time to talk with you?
anytime. Anytime.
Anytime?
I will also send my calendar link out. You can
Mm-hmm.
just book 15 minutes and, if we have to have a longer conversation, we definitely can.
Okay.
But I'm pretty open.
Okay. So I can call you after this call.
Okay, so I
Or
have training
oh, okay.
after this call. Yeah, I have like a long day. I'm giving training and I'm getting training today. So if you wanted to talk tomorrow though, we can.
Okay, sounds
Um,
good.
yeah, so if you would, I'm going to email you and you can just book time on my calendar and we'll
Mm-hmm.
connect.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have my email or should I send to
If
the
you
chat?
if you registered, and
I,
I believe everybody that's on here registered, then
yes.
yes. Then
Okay.
yes, I have your email.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yes. All right, everybody.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great day and I will talk with you soon.